mixed number subtraction with the same denominator and renaming. So with subtraction of mixed numbers, when if you do have to rename, or I would say regroup, then you're actually going to have to do it in the beginning rather than when you do a addition of mixed numbers. If you have to regroup, then you do it at the end. So we're going to see that we'll have to do it in the beginning. So this first one, or this particular topic, we have the same denominator, so we don't have to worry about getting a common denominator. We've already got it. So if I write this sort of vertically, as I like to do, 4 1/8, and then minus, and I'm going to try to line up whole numbers and fractions, 2 5/8. So notice what we end up with. We're trying to do 1 minus 5, which, I mean, you can do that. You know, it would be -4. So you'd have -4/8, and then 4 minus 2, here I'll just go ahead and write it, -4/8, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. So we don't want a mixed number, though, that has one part of it being positive and the other part of it being negative. Now there is a way to get from this weird looking thing to the actual answer where both parts are positive, but maybe I'll wait and we'll talk about that after we do it sort of the standard way. So I'm going to get rid of this stuff and show you the way that we're technically supposed to do it. But there's different ways to do these things, and you find what works for you. Okay, so we are going to regroup and borrow from this 4. Actually, let me change my colors. There we go. So I'm going to borrow from the 4, and it's going to become a 3. And I'm borrowing 1 whole that I am going to regroup over here with the 1/8. So I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So I am regrouping 1, borrowing 1 and adding it to the 1/8. So I think the easiest thing with this is to just think of it as a mixed number, 1 1/8, and then you can convert it to an improper fraction. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So 9/8. So instead of regrouping and kind of what we would normally do, like when you borrow and you just add a 1 and this would become 11, we're adding 1 whole. That's the same as 8/8. So this is going to become 9/8. So we have 3 9/8. So now we can do 9 minus 5 is, well, coincidentally it's 4/8. And then 3 minus 2 is 1. And so now all we have to do is simplify the fraction if necessary, and we do need to do that for this one. So this is 1 1/2. Okay, so let's do this with another one. I'll go back to using blue. So here we have 5 minus 1 4/5. So in this case, when I line up things, of course 5 is just the whole number, minus 1 4/5, there's nothing to take away the 4/5 from. If we were adding these, this is actually super easy, just by the way. If we had 5 plus 1 4/5, this is easy because the 4/5 kind of just floats down. It's like you're adding 0, and then 5 plus 1 is 6. That's no problem. But over here, we have to have something to subtract 4/5 from. And so normally if you have a 0, like if we were trying to do 50 minus 14, here maybe I'll try to put that over here, and sugar. 50 minus 14. We would have to borrow, right? Borrow, this is a 4, this become a 10, and then we could do our subtraction. So same kind of a thing. So you can think of this as 0/5. Just might as well make it over 5. That way we have the same denominator. And so now we are going to borrow. So we're borrowing from this 5 and making it a 4. And we're regrouping that 1 whole over here. So instead of just 1 and this becoming, like we would normally do over here, we're not borrowing a 10, right? We're borrowing 1 whole. So 1 whole with the same denominator would be 5/5. So this is going to become 5/5 here. So it's kind of weird. So this whole number 5 is the same as 4 and 5/5. Like, that's a stupid way to write it, but it helps us to solve this problem. And so basically the shortcut when you're doing this regrouping with the subtracting mixed numbers is that when you, let me go back over here, when you are trying to figure out what is this new numerator going to be after you regroup, just add the old numerator and the denominator. 1 plus 8 is 9. Over here, 0 and 5 is 5. Okay, so now I subtract my numerators, 5 minus 4, and I get 1 over 5. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. And the 1/5 is a simplified fraction, so this is the final answer.